We're gonna start off with some pork shoulder cubes. When you're buying them in the store, sometimes they're also called braising or stewing cubes. So a couple of different names there. They're absolutely perfect for braising, which is what we're gonna be doing today, just because of that nice marbling that's in the meat.
Right.
So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna mix our spices and our flour. So a little bit of flour added to our Vindaloo spices. So we've got some paprika in there, some cumin, coriander, ground cardamom, which is really common in East Indian cooking. It's kind of comes from the ginger family.
Yeah, yeah, wonderful.
Yeah, it's distinct.
It is.
Some cinnamon and a little bit of salt and pepper.
That's
and
really nice.
Yeah,
and what do you
mix that in with the flour. That's perfect.
Now what do we do?
So put about half of that flour mixture, just sprinkle it over top of the pork. And yeah, just a tiny little bit more. Perfect.
All right.
I like using this little trick, just putting the pork cubes in a container.
Yeah.
Shaking it up.
Yeah.
A little bit of a workout.
You and your tips, you've always got some kind of awesome shortcut. I love that.
It just helps distribute the seasoning, and it kind of just helps dust those pork cubes.
For sure.
There we go.
All right.
See, look at that.
Yeah, honestly, that's
Isn't that perfect?
Kind of perfecto.
So now we're gonna add pork cubes to our hot pot that has a bit of oil in it. And we wanna do this about 1/3 of the cubes at a time.
So we work them in batches.
We're working in batches.
Okay.
And that's just a given when you're cooking large amounts of meat like this, because you want that meat to sear nicely in the pot.
Yeah, that shoulder goes a long way, hey?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Shoulder is actually a really great option for cooking for a crowd, just because it is so economical and it just goes a long way.
Yep. And when we use Susan's tricks here and her special recipes, they're going to be super impressive.
So you'd let those brown. It's just leave them. Try to be patient and let that meat release itself, like from the pot.
As opposed to like
it.
doing what I do, which is get in there and stir, stir, stir. Because
Yeah,
I'm already like I should be stirring, but
Because
no.
then you're leaving like really good bits of meat at the bottom of the pot. So don't
Okay.
want to do that. So we'll just let that continue to cook.
Okay.
And just kind of keep an eye on those.
Sure.
And then we'll move over to our other pot here. So you can see there's some brown bits at the bottom here. So we're gonna add a little bit of oil. And then we're gonna use the rest of our spices. If you wanna pass those over. There you go. And we're gonna put that in. And so with the flour in here, the flour I should have mentioned too, just helps provide a nice crust on the meat.
Okay.
And it's also gonna help thicken up the stew.
Sure.
So we've got our spices in there with the oil. And now we're going to add our onion and garlic and all that good stuff. So we've got quite a bit of onion in here.
We could like smell-o-vision. It is smelling so good in here.
Garlic.
Garlic.
Get that all out. And then ginger, fresh ginger.
You just have no idea. I'm like resisting the urge to stir this meat.
You can watch it, but
it's okay. Everything's going to be okay.
So mix that in really nicely. We'd let this cook for about a minute just to get that onion to start softening up, get a little bit of flavor coming out of the garlic and the ginger.
Okay.
So once we've got that done, we're going to add some mustard.
Just a regular...
Got it all over my finger. Just regular mustard.
Fancy mustard
Nothing
required.
fancy.
Okay.
And then just a teaspoon or a tablespoon of white wine vinegar. So we don't want to put all of it in just yet. Stir that up. You can see that the brown bits are already starting to lift a little bit.
It's a valuable part of the recipe.
And then we've got a little bit of cayenne here. So this is where you get to play around a little bit. We're gonna add 1/4 teaspoon, but you can certainly add more. Vindaloo is meant to be spicy, but if you don't like spice, then that's okay too.
Less is better,
Just less is better. Ooh. Okay, so we've got that going.
Ooh is right. Ooh is right.
And then we're gonna add the rest of our vinegar.
So why just a little bit off the shake?
Just to, just to kind of like get everything mixed together and a little bit of that crunchy stuff from the bottom of the pot off.
And then you add
chicken
in all
broth
that to your liquid. Okay.
And then we're going to add all of our pork back in.
And how long does this, like once it's all in together, how long are we letting this cook up?
So the juice is going to. So we put on a lid, put the lid on the pot and let it simmer for about 45 minutes.
Okay.
Then take the lid off and let it simmer for about another 15 and it'll thicken up and the flavors are just amazing.
It smells like I can't speak, so I won't, other than to say we will be back shortly with recipe number 3. Okay, so I pulled pork nachos with Tex-Mex candied bacon chips.
Yes.
When we come back on Great Taste.
You're watching Great Tastes of Manitoba, brought to you in part by Manitoba's farmers and ranchers. Local farms, local foods.